Your back isn't the problem, your hips are. As a physical therapist, I see this all the time. You stretch your back, you massage it, you try to fix it, and nothing changes. Because your hips can't rotate, extend, or flex, your low back has to steal that motion. So here's what we're doing today. I'm going to show you 5 signs that your hips are the culprit and what to do about it. Sign number 1 is limited hip external rotation. So the test for this is a figure 4 test. If you lay on your back with both legs out, you take your right ankle and you cross it over your left knee and you let that right knee flop out. You want to make sure that your hips aren't going back and forth. Your hips are staying even. What you're watching for, does that knee drop towards the floor pretty easily or does it stop short? And another important part that matters, do you feel a pinch in the front of your hip or a deep pain in your groin? And then you want to swap and do the other side. If one side's tight and pinchy and the other side's not, that asymmetry is a giveaway for what's going on. And what you're looking for from side to side is generally full range of motion is when you have 2 fists from your knee to the ground or to the table. So if you have more than 2 fists or you have 2 on one side and 4 on the other side because there's some asymmetry there, then we need to look at your hips as being part of the problem for your low back pain. The fix is not stretching harder. It's teaching your glute on both sides to own that range of motion. One exercise that I start with for this is still on your back with your feet together and your knees apart. If you put a yoga block under your knees, you're going to press your knees down into the yoga block, hold it for 5 seconds, and then relax. You're going to feel your butt turn on. It's not going to move. Your legs aren't going to move very far, but your glute muscles are going to turn on. You're also going to feel a groin stretch. So you want to push down, hold for 5 seconds, relax, push down, hold for 5 seconds, relax, and then keep going. You might be able to take the yoga blocks out a little bit further because you're gaining more range of motion via strength as you go. The key of this one is that you are not passively stretching. You're building strength and control at that end range of motion of hip external rotation, which is going to make it so your hips can go in that position and keep that range of motion that you're getting through your groin muscles. The second sign is hip internal rotation. For this one, if you lie on your back and you bring one knee up to a tabletop position, keeping your knee in line with your body, but bringing your foot outward and seeing how far that goes, and then try your other side. The general goal is about 45 degrees, but more important than chasing that perfect number is comparing side to side. If one hip barely moves into 5 or 10 degrees and the other hip goes all the way, then we know that that is part of the problem of what's going on with your low back. If your hip can't rotate either going in or going out, then your back becomes that backup plan for your hips. So the strengthening exercise I like to gain more mobility for hip internal rotation is getting into that half kneel position and putting your foot against something heavy like a couch or a wall, something that's not going to move, with your leg blocked so it won't go anywhere. You're going to gently rotate your body toward that side, keeping your hip controlled and avoiding any pinching in the front of the hip. You're going to move slowly. You're going to pause for a few seconds, and then you're going to come back out of it. This helps you work on hip internal rotation without just forcing that joint. It's teaching your body to find that control within that hip internal rotation, which is exactly what we want when your hips are feeling stiff or guarded or not moving. That third sign is hip extension. This is where I use the Thomas test with clients. So you're going to lay on the edge of a sturdy surface, something that's not going to move. You're going to lie on your back and hug both knees towards your chest. From there, keep one leg towards your chest and let the other leg hang down off the edge of the mat. If that hanging leg stays where your thigh is above parallel, your thigh can't relax all the way down, you are limited into hip extension. You should have 20 degrees past that parallel mark, but also your knee should be at 90 degrees. So 20 degrees of your hip past neutral and your knee at 90 degrees is getting your hip to extend how it should. This matters because hip extension is what your hip needs to walk, climb, do stairs, run, even just go from a sitting to standing position. If you can't extend through your hip, your low back is going to take the motion. The exercise I like to start with here is a half kneel position where you contract and relax your hip flexors. So get into that half kneel position, right leg up, left knee down. Your side you're working on is the left. Gently tuck your pelvis under like you're bringing your butt underneath you and you're not arching your back at all. From here, drive your back knee down and forward into the ground. Like you're trying to drag it forward, but it's not going to actually move. You're going to hold that contraction for about 5 seconds. Then you're going to relax. After that, squeeze the glute on that back leg and let your hips move slightly forward while keeping that pelvis tucked. You should feel a stretch throughout the front of the hip or the thigh, but you shouldn't feel your low back taking over. This one's useful because you're not just stretching the hip flexors, you're teaching the butt muscles to own that new hip extension range of motion. So your lower back is not going to start arching, taking up the motion that your hip doesn't have. The fourth sign is hip flexion. This is a knee to chest motion. The easiest way to test it is lie on your back and bring one knee towards your chest, see how far it goes, whether it feels comfortable, and what your pelvis is doing. A lot of times I'll have people that feel pinchy on one side and not the other, or more restricted on one side and not the other. So compare right to left. You should be able to bring that hip pretty comfortably up towards your chest and pretty equally. Hip flexion is important for squatting, for bending, for sitting, stairs, getting off the ground. If your hip doesn't flex well, then your back is bound to take up that movement. So one exercise I like to get hip flexion, range of motion, but also that mobility, that strength, is the lift off of a squat position, but on your back. You're gonna lay on your back, you're gonna put your feet on the wall in a comfortable position. And one at a time, you're gonna bring one foot off the wall, getting your hip to bend as much as you can, but also the strength in that front of the hip muscle as much as you can, your hip flexors. Hold that for 5 seconds, put it back down, switch, do the other side, hold that for 5 seconds, put it back down, and keep going back and forth. You should feel that as you go, those muscles on the front of your hip are getting stronger, and you can go a little bit further of that knee towards your chest each time. The fifth and last sign is hip abduction. So it's a limited adductor mobility. Your adductors are the muscles on the inside of your thigh or your groin muscles. You can check them by moving your leg away from midline. So lie on your back, let one leg slide out to the side like a snow angel motion. And you're looking at whether your inner thigh feels tight, whether one side stops a lot sooner than the other, and whether your pelvis starts to try to take over or your hip stays doing all the work. If your adductors are stiff and your hip can't move out to the side well, your pelvis and low back might start compensating. The strengthening exercise I like for this one to get more range and strength is adductor rock backs. So you're going to get on your hands and knees. You're going to slide one leg out to the side, keeping that foot flat, relaxed. And you're just gently going to rock your hips backwards until you feel stretched through your inner thigh. Pause for a second and then rock forward again. You can keep going backwards and forward to get a little bit of a stretch. You can also lift that leg off the ground to get a little bit of that glute muscle kicked in at that end range of motion. This should be comfortable. It should feel good. And then you should be comparing right to left. So after you do that first side, switch to the other side and see how that other side feels. Those are your 5 signs that your hips might be tight: external rotation, internal rotation, extension, flexion, and abduction. But here's the key. Don't just stretch harder. If your hips feel tight, your body needs more than flexibility. It needs strength and control at that end range of motion. That's why the goal is always not to just force more motion. It's to help your hips move better and feel stronger so that your low back is not doing all of the extra work. If you're tired of guessing whether it's your back, your hips, or something else that's driving your pain, you can also book a call with me. We'll look at what's going on, what you've already tried, what your goals are, what you're limited in, and what the next best step might be for you. So you can book a call with the link below.